Welcome to another show. Today, we're going to look at 10 celebrities who regretted leaving hit TV shows. Charlie Sheen's 2011 meltdown is probably the most well-known thing about the actor at this point. Sheen has dealt with addiction and mental health problems his entire adult life, and he hit a particularly low ebb in 2011 when he left his hit sitcom 2.5 Men in an explosive tantrum that alienated virtually everyone on the show. Sheen has attempted to rehabilitate his life in recent years as he attempts to resurrect his career. He's admitted he has regrets over how he dealt with his departure from 2.5 Men, and lamented the fact he so thoroughly alienated the cast and crew he couldn't come back for the show's series finale. Sheen is one of Hollywood's most infamous cautionary tales, a genuine talent who just can't seem to overcome his demons.
I'm hoping someday he and I can be buddies.
When Wayne Rogers signed on to MASH as trapper John McIntyre, he was told his character would be on equal footing with Alan Alda's Hawkeye Pierce. That may have been the original intention, but it quickly became apparent that Alda's Hawkeye was the heart and soul of the series, and Rogers felt marginalized. He decided to leave the show after its third season in pursuit of starring roles, as did fellow MASH star McLean Stevenson. Those roles never materialized, and by the 90s, acting was more of a part-time endeavor for Rogers. He became incredibly successful as an investment strategist and money manager who made regular appearances on Fox Business Network. Despite his financial success outside of acting, Rogers admitted that if he knew MASH would become such a long-standing success, he probably would have swallowed his pride and stuck around longer. Colton Haynes' Roy Harper was becoming an increasingly crucial aspect of Arrow by the DC superhero show's third season. Starting out as a love interest for Willa Holland's Thea, Roy had one of the show's more complex arcs, taking him from a street hood to Arsenal, one of Oliver Queen's most trusted allies. But Roy abruptly departed the series at the end of the third season, faking his own death and leaving town after claiming he was the Arrow instead of Oliver. It was a shocking development that fans struggled to understand. Haynes would later reveal that he asked to leave the show due to his lifelong struggle with an anxiety disorder that was reaching a fever pitch when he was working long days on Arrow. Haynes still clearly loves the series and its cast, as he's returned for guest spots several times since his departure as a series regular. During the massive success of Chappelle's Show in the early 2000s, co-creator Dave Chappelle walked away from Comedy Central because he didn't like where the show was heading and hated that his work was reduced to a series of catchphrases. He also believed that working 20 hours a day took away from his family and stand-up comedy career. In 2005, Chappelle left the show and a new $50 million contract, and for the next 8 years, he stayed out of the spotlight until he restarted his stand-up career. In 2014, he went on The Late Show with David Letterman to talk about life after Chappelle's show, as Letterman asked if he ever regretted turning down Comedy Central's money. "It's very hard to go through something like this, because no one's really done it before. So there's not too many people that don't think I'm crazy, right?" said Chappelle. He spent more time with his family and produced a 2005 documentary with director Michel Gondry called Dave Chappelle's Block Party. In 2016, he signed a $60 million deal with Netflix for 3 comedy specials. When John Amos joined the cast of Good Times, he thought he'd be taking on a role in one of producer Norman Lear's trademark sitcoms that tackled social issues in a thoughtful, provocative manner. It soon became clear that Jimmy Walker's J. Evans was going to dominate the series with his cartoonish antics and silly catchphrases. Amos was deeply uncomfortable with the direction the show took, which led to conflict with Lear and, ultimately, his dismissal from the cast after the 4th season. Amos would find further success on both film and television, starring in projects like Roots, The West Wing, and Coming to America. Later in life, Amos admitted he could have handled his issues with Good Times' tone in a more mature way, and regretted the damage his departure did to his relationship with Lear. From 1972 to 1979, Michael Learned played Olivia Walton on The Waltons. After 7 seasons as the family's matriarch, Learned left the hit TV show because she didn't feel the role was challenging enough as an actress, despite winning 3 Emmy Awards and earning 4 Golden Globe nominations for her performance. There's been times when I've regretted it only in that it probably would have been better to complete the whole show, Learned told Fox News in 2017. But frankly, when John Boy came back with a new face and a new voice, it was like something happened. I just couldn't do it anymore, and also, I felt a lot of the times I was sitting around for 14 hours saying, "More coffee, John." Olivia Walton was written out of the Waltons with the character developing severe tuberculosis and being sent to a sanatorium in Arizona. Learned returned to make a few special guest appearances, while she also reprised the role in 4 made-for-TV reunion movies. In 2002, during the first season of American Idol, there were actually 2 hosts, Ryan Seacrest and Brian Dunkelman, who left the reality TV competition at the very beginning of its success. Dunkelman quit American Idol to pursue a career in stand-up comedy and acting, but his ambitions didn't pan out as he planned. "The undeniable truth is, I just didn't have the wisdom at the time to handle what was happening," Dunkelman wrote in Variety in 2016. "Do I regret not remaining on the show now that it's coming to an end? Yes. Especially when I open my bank statements." During the first 4 seasons of Star Trek, The Next Generation, Wheaton played Wesley Crusher, the only son of Beverly Crusher, the chief medical officer aboard the USS Enterprise. He left the show in 1991 to pursue more acting opportunities in movies and TV. "I left Star Trek, The Next Generation when I was 18 years old, and initially I thought it was a really smart business career move," Wheaton said during a Star Trek reunion at the Calgary Expo in 2012. "In some ways it was, and in more ways it wasn't. What I was unprepared for was how much I was going to miss the people on this stage. After that ended, I just felt really ashamed of myself. I felt like I just couldn't go to the set, and I felt like I couldn't look them in the eye. I felt like I didn't have the right to invite them to my wedding." Years after that, I sort of saw them at a few conventions and I just tried to sort of say, "I apologize for being a kid." In 1977, Suzanne Summers was cast to play Chrissy Snow on Three's Company and immediately became a major celebrity. Before the beginning of season 5, Summers requested a pay raise and a percentage of the show's profits, but the producers denied her request and reduced her role to merely 60 seconds of screen time, which she shot separately from co-stars John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt. Summers eventually quit Three's Company, which divided the cast and escalated into a very public feud with producers. In addition, Ritter and DeWitt felt betrayed because of her request and completely shunned her for decades afterwards. "To this day, I feel a sadness for not being able to finish out Three's Company," Summers told the Television Academy Foundation in 2012. "I still have a heartache that it ended so badly, this wonderful thing. John Ritter and I made up right before he died, which I was so glad. There's a happy ending to this story, though." In 2012, DeWitt and Summers reunited on Summers' talk show after 30 years of not speaking to each other. Be careful what you wish for. By the 3rd season of the twisty ABC drama Revenge, Josh Bowman believed his character, Daniel Grayson, had switched allegiances and crossed lead character Emily Thorne so many times that he had run his course as a believable character. Bowman went so far as to tell members of the press he thought it made sense for his character to be killed off. Bowman got his wish in the 10th episode of the show's 4th season. Daniel died trying to shield Emily from a gunshot, landing on the side of the good guys on his way out the door. Bowman expressed his sadness at leaving the series, but it ended up being a relatively minor misstep on his part, as ABC canceled the series at the conclusion of the 4th season. Thanks for joining us. What did you think? Did you miss certain characters after they were written out of popular TV shows? Do you think the shows improved or became worse after their departure? Let me know in the comments below. While you're at it, please subscribe to my channel, and also check out my Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise, also in the comments below. And until next time, this is Andrew in for Kevin Given saying live long and prosper, may the force be with you and keep reaching for the stars.